Hello, ladies, gents, and everybody in between. This is your pal Wolfie, and here is my review for episode 5 of season 2 of The Last of Us. This episode, this episode got to me a bit, and I knew it would, based on the previews that they showed last week. I didn't want to touch base on it, obviously, because I was like, let me wait and see what they do. So they got to me with this one. But not in a bad way. I just mean I'll explain. Either way, as I usually do, I'll give like just a quick thought on the episode and then I'll get into the spoiler section of it, which of course will have timestamps and such. But know that this episode gets to me for certain reasons. And I will discuss the difference between what they did with this episode compared to the game and why I'm a bit conflicted about the change. I'll get into it later. But anyway, overall, I gave this episode a 9 out of 10. I really fucking enjoyed it. It was very action packed. It had my adrenaline going crazy. I tell you, I was laying down and I popped up and I stayed popped up and like on the TV for the remainder of the episode. Once it went high octane, I was high octane right up with it. So it was a good episode. It was very much in there. And again, the reason why I give it a 9, I'll discuss later, and it's because I'm not a huge fan of the little difference they made for my own personal reasons. But it's not a reflection of, because I understand what they're doing. It's just a matter of I liked it better in the game. But otherwise, like I said, 9 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. Very high octane. Everybody's performance was fan-fucking-tastic. Let me see. Sorry, I had to pause for a bit. I had to go do something. But yeah. I think I'll just get into the spoilers because there's really no way for me to really talk about this episode at all without talking spoilers. So if you came here for the spoiler section, we will start that in 3, 2, and 1. Wow. First of all, the fact that they like I usually don't sit through the recaps like right before the episode starts, but my ears are so well trained. I heard the theme allowed to be happy play and it stops. Every time I hear like there's I don't know what it is, but that first of all is my favorite theme in all of the entire series of The Last of Us. If you don't know, can't help you there, but if you do know, then you know. That is a very powerful, important piece of music in the entire series, which is probably why this is the second time they've played it. They played it in season 1 during the scene where Tess sacrifices herself. I was in tears because not so much because of that part, because I already knew it was going to happen, and I thought it was really well done, but just that hearing that theme, every time I hear that theme, it just breaks me down. And again, if you know, then you know. If you don't, you don't. But if you do, then you do. That theme is extremely powerful. It's played during Abby's section, so it's always weird when I hear it during Ellie's part. But either way, fucking love that theme. So to hear it during the recap, I first of all didn't even pay attention to the recap. I had to stop. I just stopped and was bawling because I was listening to that theme. But anyway, that didn't really matter. I just wanted to throw that little nugget in there. But first of all, again, the big change here is that Dina is going with Ellie instead of first of all being really sick and staying at the theater like she does in the game. So that was the major change there. And I guess the best part for me to start with is that we get some Dina backstory. So in the game, again, a lot of this is missable. If you didn't really engage with the conversation parts, with Dina. So how do I explain this? So for those who have played the game or haven't played the game, a little more context in the game. It's Seattle day one, and Dina's character is actually a Jewish kid, and she and Ellie end up getting sneaking into a synagogue to get some gas so that they can. There's a whole thing, but either way, they end up in a synagogue, and they this is where is in that spot that we get more backstory about Dina, but you won't get it if you don't actually engage with her in the conversation cues that she gives. If you never do any of that, if you never like explore around the synagogue, you won't learn much about her backstory. This is all very missable things. Which again, I love that there are things that you can miss that are so fucking important. It keeps to the replayability of the game. Of course, me being me, I got all that my first play. But anyway, so they did the backstory pretty different. So we honestly don't have too much information about Dina other than, knowing that she had a mom and a sister and that they were both dead. That they kind of kept it that way in the show at first, except we knew about the mother. We didn't know. She never spoke about the sister at that point. This is the first time she brings up the sister. But at all in the series, this is the first time we get a story, an actual story to what happened in Dina's past. So I did love that. I love that we got more on that because I always did wonder like what her real like full like backstory was. So it was nice that we do give it to her because she is such like again, Dina is driving this whole damn season. Like she is in the fucking front seat driving the whole goddamn truck. She is the spearhead of this entire season. So it's any nowadays, whatever more Dina you gonna give me, I'm gonna take it at this point. I'm fucking loving it. I adored her in the fucking game, and somehow they found a way to make me adore her even more in this damn show. So yeah, when we find out that, that her mother and sister died, and that she ended up being the person that killed the person who killed her parents, killed her family. This is where my issue came in a little bit. This is where my 9 comes from. This is where I take it from being a 10. Only because as you know, avid Joel hater. So with her story, she's giving giving incentive to, yeah, like I would have done the same thing. Like I get like she's trying to, compare the situation with Ellie and the whole thing that happened with him, and where it's not remotely comparable. But yes, it's giving a reason why Dina is so sympathetic to the cause, essentially. And that is very, very different than in the game. So in the game, she is sympathetic to the cause, but she's more so sympathetic to the cause because of Ellie, because she loves Ellie, because she wants to be a support system for Ellie. But again, she was the moral compass in The Last of Us Part 2. There are many parts. I say part twice. It's kind of funny. So there are many points throughout playing Ellie's section of the game that Dina makes her question what they're doing. So she's always like, how does this change anything for you? How does that make you feel? Like she's always questioning, like as they get further and as things get crazier, she's always questioning Ellie, like, is this really the path we should still be taking? So she's like, where she's still a voice of reason in the show, they kind of take that part of it out and instead just make her an ally to the madness, you could say. of this entire journey, because it's a mad journey. What are you gonna? There's no other way for you to put it. This is madness what they're doing for this asshole who didn't deserve it in the first place, who doesn't deserve them getting revenge for him in the first place. He fucking deserved what happened to him. But again, this is my own personal thing with it. But yeah, so that's where my 9 comes from. It's why it keeps it from being a 10, because again, just finding reasons to justify him, and there's no justification. Sorry, there's no justification. But moving on from that, yeah. So the whole Stalker scene, first of all, my entire stomach was in my fucking feet, because like, what the when I tell you I hate fighting the fucking stalkers in the game. They're ridiculous. They're fucking ridiculous. And my ass, when I was playing that game on Grounded, because I had, by the time I played Grounded, if for those who don't know, Grounded is the hardest difficulty of the entire game. Yeah, I beat this shit on Grounded. Got that platinum, bitch. But but so on Grounded mode, because like one of the stipulations is you get like that resources are extremely scarce, and because I knew that there are really fucking difficult sections where you really need as much ammo as possible, like there's like, because one of the great things about the game is that there's certain sections, like combat sections, that you could sneak through completely and never have to get to an actual combat situation if you're smart and if you actually pay attention to what you're doing. So for me, I'm a fucking expert when it comes to The Last of Us Part 2. So I can literally play through the whole game minus the sections where you're forced into combat situations. I can go through the whole game stealth and never get caught. I'm very good at the game. So ungrounded with that, with the stalkers, it's fucking nigh on almost impossible, because they hear, and sorry, it's my cats are doing stupid shit, so I have to snap to stop them. They pretty much hear and see everything because they're stalkers. They're hunting you. So where you could play the hunter against the other types of infected, they are the apex predator in comparison. So they really stick to that in the fucking show, because in the show, Jesus Christ, these dudes is fucking savage. And there's almost no way to get through sections with them without having to load out some ammo. I mean, I know how to do it. I can get through with, as long as I got a machete, as long as I got a machete and a knife, I can get through them motherfuckers. And if you're really good at doing the dodging, I got them niggas all day. But again, it's of course it's gonna be different in a damn show. So seeing all of them dudes, like a part of me, this is why I kind of hate previews. Part of me wishes that they hadn't shown that in the preview, that they were gonna be facing off. Because like as soon as I noticed the area that they made it to, I'm like, oh shit, this is the stalker section. Oh my god. I was like, oh no. Like my anxiety went up, and then in my head I'm like, but I'm not playing the game, but I'm still getting the same anxiety I get whenever I deal with the sections. And again, I've got 300 hours in this damn game, and I still get the anxiety whenever I have to deal with these damn stalkers. So the anxiety is still there, even just watching them on screen. Like, these dudes is fucking savage. The way, first of all, when that part where they all took down Ellie and you see them, like, I'm pretty sure if they do like an injury check scene with Ellie, and they look at her legs or whatever, she's probably got a bunch of bite marks on her legs. It looked like they were all biting on her legs. But so I like, they fucked them up. But damn, here come my boy. When I tell you, as soon as I heard the fucking shotgun go off, I'm like, oh, is it Jesse? Is it Jesse? Jesse, is it Jesse? I was losing it. I was fucking losing it. I'm like, yes, tell me it's Jesse. Tell me it's Jesse. And then when they showed him after he picked her up, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I love Jesse. I adore Jesse. he's another one in the game where like that's my boy. That's my boy. so like even with him being, third wheel to the Dina and Ellie show, still love him, still adore him, would do anything for that man. So yes, seeing my boy come in there, he's seeing him pissed, like I gotta save these bitches. Come on, let's run. Let's get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, yo, and then when they run, okay, when the park section. The park section. So Seattle Day 2 for Ellie is one of my, like, I always have mixed feelings with Seattle Day 2 for Ellie, only because I hate that that's the Stalker section. Like there's the big Stalker sections for Ellie take place in Seattle Day 2. So I hate dealing with them. So I have conflicted feelings when it comes to that. But my favorite parts of Seattle Day 2 is when you face off with the Seraphites, aka the Scars. When you face off with them motherfuckers, I love fighting them. I adore fighting them, actually. I enjoy killing them because you know what? That feels like a spoiler. So I won't explain why. But know that I take much, much pleasure when I get to kill them in particular. So yes. So I love playing the Seattle Day 2, that section of it where they go face off the Seraphites, and it kicks off from the park because that's where. Whew. And so so when that part came up, and the first thing that went through my head was, okay, they're in the park. It's the three of them now, because in the game it's just Ellie. It's three of them. So in my head, I'm like, what do they need to do to make certain parts that are coming up work? If they're gonna keep it like in line with the game, I'm like, they're gonna have to take Dina out. They're gonna end up. So for those who don't know, in the game, how Ellie gets formally introduced to the Seraphites is, again, in this park section. She's by herself in the park. It's during the day. First of all, it's during the day, and she is watching them. Because she heard them whistling and talking, and so she's and this is not the same spot where the guy that they killed. There's another part that they do that, and that's a little further in to the Seattle Day 2. So they kind of they push that all together in this one spot. God, I know so much about that game. But yeah, so when she is hearing the whistles, she stops, she bends down, and she peeks up to try and get a lay of what's going on. And she gets hit with the arrow. She gets hit in the shoulder, and then there's a section where you're pulling it out and getting it off. So obviously that wouldn't make sense to do for this because you can't have her be injured and then go off to the fucking hospital afterwards. That wouldn't make sense. So if they wanted to keep things in line with events that occur in the game, I'm like, Dina has to be taken out. She has to. She can't. She's not part of a lot of these big parts that are coming up. And while I do love the difference of having her come along with Ellie, it's like these certain scenes are not going to work with Dina there. Sorry, cats got into a fight. But yeah, so what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So like I was saying, there's certain parts that are not going to work the same way if Dina is there. So in my head, I'm like, they're going to take, Dina's going to take that arrow. Because it's still, I was very confident they were still going to do the arrow thing. And I was very confident that, this is when Jesse is going to, with Jesse being there, this is going to be the reason why he disappears as well, because he's going to have to take her to safety. And guess what? Your bitch was right. I was 100% on the money. I spoke the whole scene out right before it even happened, and I'm like, I'm a genius. But yeah, so I love that they did that, and now it makes sense why certain parts are gonna have Ellie alone, including the Nora part, because yeah, the Nora part was another thing that led to the 9 that I gave this. So yeah. So Dina gets taken out. Jesse's gotta take her back to the rendezvous point. I also like the fact that Tommy is there with Jesse. So again, if you don't know, in the game, Tommy initially had gone by himself, then Dina and Ellie, and then Jesse coming after they ass. So Jesse was late to the party. Overall, he was late to the party, but he didn't actually get to meet up with Tommy until a certain point in the game. So the fact that they still have it where Tommy is gonna be coming, but he has him coming with Jesse. I like that. I like that they're still keeping the core 4 that went out into the adventure. They're still keeping the core 4. So now that makes the wheels start to turn for me as far as, again, other things that are going to happen later in comparison to the game, and it makes me very curious what they're gonna do. But yeah. So now Ellie's got to get away from the Seraphites, and when I tell you, oh god, I love this section in the game. I love it because that stealth is my bread and butter. I love playing stealth in any video game. If you give me an option for stealth, I'm probably gonna play the game 9 times out of 10. If the stealth mechanics suck, I'll leave it. But the stealth mechanics in The Last of Us Part 2 are peak. As far as I'm concerned, there's no game that can beat it. So until that day happens, we shall see. But it is peak stealth gameplay. And so having Ellie, try to stealth her way out of the park, and then she sees the hospital, and she, of course, her brain is like, wait, it's right there. That's where we were trying to get to this whole time. That's where Nora is. Beeline. Of course she's gonna beeline for the fucking hospital. So I guess now let's talk about the hospital. And again, this is another part where I'm not a huge fan of what they decided to do. Well, I'll start what I did like. I did like that they found a way to bring the spores in. So, at the very beginning of the episode, you have that little sit down between one of the leaders and the soldiers about something that went down at the hospital. And then they mention, that it's in the air. And in the video game, the spores thing is the whole backbone of the infection. So I know a lot of people were like on the fence about them changing that and making it instead be like the Vine system instead. I personally like both. I don't have like an attachment either way. I think it's stupid to be attached to it. But whatever, people have their stupid attachments. But I liked both directions, so I wasn't bothered by it when they changed it. But now they're making it so that the deep underground sections are where the spores are born and where they inhabit. And once you breathe it in, that's it. And it's interesting that they're doing it, that they're doing that, because now it'll catch more people off guard, because again, because spores were a big deal in the game, everybody had masks. So as soon as they saw spores, they would put the mask on. But here now in the show, because spores weren't really a thing until right now, nobody's equipped with a mask to deal with that on such a big scale. So now we've got another element. So the Stalkers were one of the newer elements added, and now the spores are another new element added. So now when they go into certain sections, now they have to warn. Now this is something else they have to worry about, because now here's another way that people can get infected. Here's another way that people can die, is through this. It's through the spores. So that, to talk about, bringing up, the spores, and then we get to see it, and you get to see that room full of all the little fungi, and seeing the guys like pasted into the fucking wall. Like, that shit was mind blowing. I'm telling you, again, the set designers, give these motherfuckers Emmys. If they don't have it already, they need all the Emmys. All these fucking set designers need all the Emmys, because what the fuck? That shit was terrifying. It was terrifying to see it, and fascinating at the same time. I'm like, holy shit. And then seeing when they breathed out, you saw the spores coming out into the air and building up into the air. It's like, holy shit. Again, that shit was crazy. But now let's talk about Nora. So I don't have feelings either way about Nora the character. I don't have feelings either way about Nora the character. I didn't care. And I didn't have any attachment to her in the game. I don't have an attachment to her in the show either. So that is not the problem for me. That is the problem. I thought my girl did a stand-up job. She's gonna be in Naughty Dog's. She's gonna play the main character for Naughty Dog's next video game, and I'm really excited to see that. But yeah, she did a fantastic goddamn job as Nora, and I loved, she did the line delivery perfectly. Like that little exchange just before she runs off. I was right there with you. I'm like, yeah, that little bitch fucking deserved it. I'm right there with you, Nora. Like, me and you don't got no feelings either way. But with that, me and you on the same page. Yeah, that little bitch fucking deserved it. But yeah. So if you don't remember, in the scene, she's the one that had been holding Ellie down when they killed that bastard. So yeah, so there's a bit of a personal thing there between them for Ellie, because she recalls that that's who Nora was. And so yeah, I was laughing my ass off when she threw the water at Ellie and it took off. Again, knowing it was gonna happen, but still, it's fucking hilarious to see it in person. It's annoying in the game because, like, oh shit, now I gotta run. Now you gotta do a run section, but it's fucking hysterical to watch it in the show because she's throwing wheelchairs at the bitch, telling her homies to shoot at her. That shit had me laughing. I was laughing the whole way through. And then what was different was that instead of, like, so in the video game, what happens is she runs, she breaks through these double doors, and then there's like a giant pit that goes all the way to the basement. And then that makes her stop. And then Ellie comes up on her and she's like begging Ellie, like, wait. Like, we don't want to go down there, sort of a situation. And then Ellie's forced into a situation where she's gotta, like, grab her, and then they end up throwing themselves off of into the pit to get away from the guys trying to shoot Ellie down. It's different here because now Nora tried to sneak through the elevator shaft to the other side because she was blocked. What would have been the double doors was blocked off by a whole bunch of shit. So now it's them going down the elevator, and if you listen closely, you can hear the soldiers say, "Oh no," like, "Oh shit, the door." They just opened the door, and what they're talking about is, like, that's the door that leads to B2, which is the basement that had all the spores. So like, oh no, that's where the shit is airborne. Fuck that. They're dead. Leave it. Close the doors. Let's just, Nora's dead. Oh, the bitch chasing us dead. Close the doors. Like, they weren't taking no chances, and I respect that. Because again, because they hadn't dealt with the spores up until now, having masks is just not something that everybody was equipped with by default anymore. So of course they couldn't just like in the game they just put on masks and they went and followed them down. They're like, nope, wipe our hands of that shit. That's not on us now. So then, you get that scene where Ellie's getting introduced to Spores. She's looking at everything, blah, blah, blah. But then she comes up on Nora. Now, I have feelings about this exchange. The exchange is very, 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 very different than the game. And I want to try to see if I can explain this as best I can. And explain why I don't like it. Why I don't have a personal problem with it. I think it was objectively, let me do it this way. Objectively, excellent scene. They did a fantastic way of recreating this scene. Everybody's acting was on point. It was brutal. It was awesome. Like I had to I was quiet, like going through that scene, and I'm just like, I was hit pretty hard emotionally watching that scene, which is first of all rare, but I was hit pretty hard watching that scene. And again, this is a character I love and a character I don't really care about, but I still felt, how do I explain it? I still felt bad. I really felt bad for Nora in this situation, which is one thing in itself. Because while I'm all team Abby, I don't really give a damn too much about her crew, with the exception of Manny, which, again, if they do everything right, you'll understand why I love Manny. I love Manny and Abby. I don't give two shits about Owen, and I don't give two shits about Mel, and I have no feelings about Nora. So that's where I land as far as that crew goes. And again, all of that will make sense as we go on. And I've already pegged it that we're not going to see Abby's section this season. Abby's section is going to be season 3, which now that makes me even more excited for season 3. But yeah, I'm going off a little bit. So what's different? I've given you the objective. Here's the subjective. Here is my problem with this part. It does not have the same weight that this part had in the game. So in the game, this is the part where Ellie is essentially following the teachings of Joel, emulating the teachings of Joel, and she forces herself to be someone she isn't, and it fucks with her real bad. And again, if you haven't played the game, you don't know, but if you know, you do know. This is a very, very fucking powerful and painful scene in the game. Still one that gets me, because this was the scene. This was the scene in the game where you start to question Ellie. Where you start to question just how far she's going. Where you start to think, maybe this is too much. Maybe she's losing herself. Now she's not the person that we knew anymore. Now she's no longer that person. She's done something that has completely rocked her entire character. And in that, there's a scene that comes after. Again, I don't want to spoil it because I don't know if they're gonna do it in the show or not. But I don't think I have any other choice, because again, it won't make sense without it. So it's right after that scene, right after she tortures Nora for the information, that you see, like, because Dina was still she didn't leave with her, so Dina was still at the at their base at the theater. Ellie goes to the theater, and Ellie is shaken up, like literally, like her hand is trembling. So, an ongoing thing in the game is that, you know, as Ellie starts to lose more of herself, it starts to have a physical reaction. It triggers her anxiety, her um her emotional responses, and it starts to get to her physically. So she starts shaking, she starts twitching, she starts playing with, she does all these anxiety based things, all these things that tell you that trauma, that she's being, you're watching her, you're playing her being traumatized. And it's all little, like, it's pretty, like, it's not too subtle, but it's subtle enough that, you know, if you're really not paying attention, you're not going to pick up on it. But if you're really paying attention in the game, you see it. You see how much it's destroying her on the inside, how much she's not, this is not her. This is not who she wants to be, but it's who she feels she has to be to get this done. And to do, I guess, do right by Joel. And again, it doesn't make it only makes sense when you play through the whole game. And again, it only adds to why I fucking hate him. Essentially, it only adds to it. And so, like I said, there's a part where when she returns to Dina and she tells Dina, I made her talk. And that's really all she can say after that. That's all she can say, and she just breaks down. She's emotionally broken. She herself can't fathom how she let herself do that. She's trying to justify it, but she just, like, she justifies it. She justifies it, but there's a part of, like, the bigger part of her, the part of her that is her and not Joel. The part of her that is her, that is Ellie, does not sit. She just doesn't connect with it. She doesn't see the value in what she has done. Whereas the part of her that is like Joel can justify it. And those two parts come to a head in this section. So, and it's very emotional, it's very gripping, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. I love this game. It's fucked up. But again, it gives you, one second, Layla, get down. It gives you insight to, again, the trauma that's being embedded onto her. That's the game. In the show, and they planted seeds for this back in season 1, and I wasn't a fan of it then, and I'm really not a fan of it now. Because I see what they're doing, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Because that's not Ellie's character. It's not. It never was. And but this is the route that they're gonna go. To, again, just to justify her getting revenge for Joel. And again, to fuck with that. No. So it feels a bit of, for me personally, it feels like character assassination in a way. Because in season 1, there's a part, I believe it's episode 3 of season 1, where they're in, I believe it was a gas station. Joel had a stash, and Ellie goes, like, she finds like a secret bunker and goes down. And when she goes down, she finds an infected guy who's like, he's had a collapse happen, and it's just him, and he's like kind of just there, and he's stuck, can't move. And Ellie is crouched. She's like, she was like, what? She was 14 when this happens. She's crouched down. She's staring at him in the face, and she's just like she's got this look, bit of a psychotic look. Like it she look hella psycho. I'll put it that way. She's got this like psychotic look. And the point of that scene, if you didn't get it, the point of that scene was to plant the seed that Ellie has this deep seated like interest in violence that is like dormant within her. She just has this essentially a deep seated psycho lurking beneath the scenes. All right, that's essentially what that scene was supposed to do, and they take that a step further with this scene, and I don't like it. I don't like this route because that's not my Ellie. The Ellie that I know and love in the game, that's not her. That's not what, like, while she does violent acts, the way that it reflects on her is very, 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 very different. Because it actually, it does, she's bothered by it. She takes no joy, she takes no pleasure, she takes no justice in it. It's just what she's been made to think she has to do. But it's not what she wants to choose to do, if that makes sense. It's what she has to do, but not what she chooses. That's her in the game. In this, so why I can tell you that this is the route that they're going is because, so the difference with this scene, one for one, with the game versus the show. In the show, Nora recounts, she gives the full explanation for why they went to Jackson in the first place. She's like, don't you know what he did? And she goes, yeah. And the thing is, in the game, it's implied that she knows, that she has an idea, but we don't know how much she knows. You don't find that till more towards the end of her section of the game. That's like Seattle Day 3. That's when you learn that she actually knew. And again, this is probably spoilers for what they're gonna do next episode, but at this point, I don't care because I need to make sure you understand why I stand on business about not liking this part. So yeah. So you see it in her face. Her face is completely dead. She's emotionless about the whole thing. She's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. And she's also like, I don't care. She's like, she's completely void of the extremity of, of Joel's actions and what led to the consequences of those actions. Completely void of emotion about it. And that's not how Ellie was in the game. Not even close. So it makes me wonder how they're gonna handle. There's a scene that's gonna come, and from the way the previews is setting it up, it looks like it's going to come in the next episode. There's a scene that's gonna come, and it's essentially my driving force that justifies every fucking reason why I hate Joel. Justifies everything. And why nobody can tell me otherwise. And if this is her reaction to it now, I don't feel like I'm going to be a fan of how they're going to handle that scene later. And it's just going to, I feel like it's going to piss me off. So that's where, again, this is my subjective. This is just me on how I feel about it. This is not talking about it in an objective way. This is just a subjective way. So the fact that they took, first of all, they take out the anxiety, they take out the trauma, they take out how destructive this scene was for her character in the game and how much it weighs on her going forward in the game. It's like they took all of that. They took it all out. And that it's such an essential part of everything that goes forward. So while I understand it's an adaptation, and I've had no problems with any of the changes they've done so far up until this one. And I had a bad feeling that this is what they were going to do based on the scene that they had Ellie have back in season 1. Based on that, I had a bad feeling then. And then there were certain parts in the show leading up to now where I was like, is this the route they're about to take? And I was right. And I don't like it. I don't. I have a personal problem with it. But again, it's not me knocking the episode at all either, because I still think it was very well done. And you know what? I'm one of those people who can still, even if the source material doesn't completely match up, I'm still somebody who can take something for what it is and enjoy it for what it is. And I do still enjoy it, but I know that this is going to bother me if they do, again, certain future scenes that are coming that held so much importance to this specific scene. I know I'm going to have a problem if it completely revamps those parts. I'm going to have a problem with it, personally. And I don't want to speak too much on it because I don't want to spoil too much, because it's still a lot. There's still so much more to this fucking thing, and I know that there's so much I can spoil. There's so much that I can talk about, but I don't want to do that. But basically, that's where I am, is that while I respect it, while I thought it was really well done, I do not like this change that they've made. I don't. It feels like character assassination for one of my favorite fucking characters. This is my favorite, essentially my favorite character in a video game, Ellie. She's like one of my favorite characters. Her and Abby are two of my favorite characters in all of gaming. I don't put one over the other. They are on the same playing field for me. While I'm completely on the side of Abby, without a question, completely on the side of Abby, I still love Ellie to the same degree that I love Abby. And while I feel there is no justification for Ellie, I feel complete justification for Abby. Still, again, same playing field as far as my love for them. And if they go this route, it's gonna fuck with that for me personally. And again, I'm gonna hold off judgment until I see what they do. But I'm not too excited to see if they do go the route that I think they're about to go with this. I'm not too excited about it at all for different reasons. But anyway, I think I rambled on long enough. Again, I gave the episode a 9 out of 10, and I explained to you as to why. I still enjoyed it. Still had a great time with it. I'm loving this season. I'm having a really great time with this season. Episode 4 still stands as the best fucking episode in the goddamn season. And I've already rewatched it like maybe 10, possibly 20 times. And that's not a joke. But yeah, feel free to let me know what you guys thought about this episode. And definitely, if y'all like whoever understands the point I'm getting at, again, don't spoil too much in the comments, but if you get the point that I'm getting at, as far as, you know, me not liking this change that they decide to go with, please tell me. Because I feel like I'm probably gonna be the only one that sees it, at least for a while. At least not until the end, but yeah.